And tonight on the program, port clearance delays, tension reduces at the Tema port as Maersk lifts suspension of accounts of freight forwarders. Also coming up, protecting the public purse, Internal Audit Agency appeals to government to fast-track implementation of Internal Audit Service.
And I'll take this opportunity to appeal to our honorable members of parliament who will have to pass the bill to become friends of the Internal Audit Agency so that they will hurriedly and expeditiously pass the bill.
We'll hear more about the Internal Audit Service bill. Also coming up, eliminating manual processes, government begins work to digitize rent control operations. We will bring you that story tonight here on Business Live. Don't go anywhere. My name is Darryl Kwao. All right, in our first story tonight, the Internal Audit Agency is appealing to government to fast-track the implementation of the Internal Audit Service bill. According to chairman of the agency's board, Joseph Winfo, the bill, when passed into law, will ensure the efficiency of its operations and make the agency independent of political interference. There's more in this report.
The Internal Audit Service bill, when passed into law, is expected to restructure the practice and align the activities of internal auditing with national financial priorities and strategies set by the Finance Ministry. Addressing the 2021 Annual Internal Audit Conference, Chairman of the Internal Audit Agency Board, Joseph Winfo, said the bill, when implemented, will give his outfit the freedom to protect the public purse.
After going through to find out what really was troubling the agency, we realized that the major impediment had to do with the Act, the 658. That took away the independence and objectivity of internal audit. The EU's consultants came out with exactly what we also believe to be the actual cause of ineffectiveness. Started working on that, and it's resulted in the presentation of a bill, a draft bill, to the Minister of Finance to have the law amended. And I'll take this opportunity to appeal to our honorable members of parliament who will have to pass the bill to become friends of the Internal Audit Agency so that they will hurriedly and expeditiously pass the bill to enable us to achieve our objective.
Minister for National Security, Albert Kandapa, said for public finances to be managed prudently, internal auditors need to be accorded respect. He made this statement as he recounted his experience as a former practitioner.
I spent 26 months in SNET and so a few months in the Electricity Company of Ghana. And going by the experience that I had at SNET in particular, there is no way that I will agree to become an internal auditor again. Nobody respected me. I wasn't invited to important meetings. But above all, nobody cared about what I did. If, in spite of all the challenges, they would accept my internal audit reports and effect the recommendations that I had come up with, probably I would have been happier. But I can assure you that wasn't the case. If we want to improve upon public financial management system in this country, we need to recognize the very, very important role of the internal auditor.
This year's annual Internal Audit Conference was based on the theme, Sustaining Internal Controls, Risk Management and Business Continuity in the Public Sector, the Role of Stakeholders.
All right, in other news tonight, an outright ban on rice imports is unachievable. That's the argument by the Indian High Commissioner to Ghana, Sugan Rajaram. According to him, though government's quest to end the importation of rice is highly commendable, some varieties of the commodity will still be imported to meet rising consumer demands. Agri Minister Dr. Usufi Akoto has indicated government's intention to ban import of rice by 2025, but the Indian High Commissioner to Ghana doubts that.
That the rice production in the country should be increased at least to the level of the needs, and not just the rice, because there are so many other things which Ghana can produce, but still it is being imported. So this could be a starting commodity in order to work in that direction. But yes, I think there will be a need for import of rice for certain qualities, certain types, certain kind of mixtures, because these days rice is not eaten in the the similar kind of varieties of rice is not eaten everywhere. Yes, I think maybe for the daily needs of the general population, you will need the rice which can be produced or grown locally.
But the minister says there's going to be an outright ban of the importation of rice from 2025.
So maybe the vision could be that by that time, all qualities, all varieties of rice which is needed here could be produced locally. There are a lot of rice which comes from other countries, Vietnam and so many other countries here. Many of the Indian companies, trading companies, are involved, but they get the volume from India less, but from other countries more. But yes, I think India is one of the largest producers of rice, also the largest exporters of rice. But there are various varieties of rice which is exported from India. But I fully agree with the Agri Minister and the government of Ghana when they say, substituting the import with the local production. I think this is priority for any national government, be it India, be it Ghana, for any other country, because you have perfect agroclimatic conditions for diversified crop cultivation. In India, in Ghana, we have a similar situation. In India, we produce everything what can be produced in any tropical country. Ghana can also do that, and a lot of efforts are on here. And yes, I think Ghana wants to.
The Indian High Commissioner to Ghana there, Sugan Rajaram. Well, Chief Executive Officer of the Agribusiness Chamber of Ghana, Anthony Morrison, disagrees with the High Commissioner. He says Ghana can meet local demand by 2025.
We are there. To tell you the fact, the standard of rice processing in Ghana is so high. Do you know that we export rice to US and South Korea? Our standard of rice currently, as we have it, is so high. And we do not need more variants or varieties of rice to be produced in Ghana for our hotels and other tourist destinations to begin to produce or cook and serve their distinguished guests with local rice. In fact, let's take the situation of Nigeria. Nigeria has the biggest population, yet still they consume 90% of local rice. Think about it. How many foreigners are in Nigeria? And how many local rice they keep consuming annually. So we need to start from a point. And we're talking about a 5-year strategy. A 5-year strategy that will go into research, will go into intake and adaptation of technology, irrigation and high-skill mechanization systems, and also to give our farmers the needed skills to be able to turn around the current metric tons of 2.8 to about 4 metric tons.
Well, tonight, tension at the Tama port has reduced as Maersk Ghana Limited, the subsidiary of Maersk Shipping, has given indication it will lift the suspension of accounts of freight forwarders and other port operators affected by its action. This will allow for further discussion and resolution of all cases with port stakeholders. Here's a statement from Maersk we want to show you tonight. It says, we have over the past week had customers reported to having old outstanding invoices placed on suspension, impacting new booking creation and cargo release. This was following notifications which were duly sent to customers involved. It goes on to say, however, in view of impact and feedback from engagements with stakeholders, suspension will be lifted from today to allow for further discussion and resolution of all cases. It says remain available to all customers to address any concerns for amicable resolution. We regret any inconvenience this may have caused to customers who may have also been suspended erroneously during this exercise. And so that's the statement from Maersk Ghana Limited on the situation. We have been reporting the past day at the port. We are joined by Johnny Mante, who is Vice President of the Ghana Institute of Freight Forwarders. Good to have you tonight on our program. How are you receiving this news? Do you have an understanding now of what the issues were with Maersk? I think that you're muted, sir.
Thank you very much. Is it better now?
It's better.
Thank you. So yes, we've always had an understanding of the issues. We knew from the onset that Maersk had not done due diligence. They were wrong. Invoices they were churning out. They had an agenda. And thankfully, they realized that they were in error. And that's the statement we see out there. Of course, there are demurrage that's accrued over the past few weeks of their inefficiency. There is port rent that has to be sorted out. So that's the next stage that we have to deal with.
I'm just curious, do you say they had an agenda? What could that be?
Obviously, I mean, a company like Maersk will not be churning out such errors. There's a clear agenda out there to ensure that their subsidiary Damco is able to take on the logistics leg of their business. Simply, so that's the only way you can understand this matter. Because of course, Maersk is a giant within the space, if not the best. And for them to be issuing out wrong invoices and be going out there all over Europe, around the world, telling customers not to use particular shipping lines, shipping companies, freight forwarders. I mean, this is unheard of. I mean, you have giants within the space. You have companies like Stellar Logistics. I mean, you are telling their customers not to use them again. What else will be the motive?
Help our audience appreciate what sort of challenges and the impact this, should I say, confusion had on your operations in the last couple of days.
I mean, it's been, I don't even have the words to describe it, chaotic, depressing. Don't forget that within our space, people's businesses thrive based on the reputation that you have been able to churn out over the years. And people have been in this business for the past 20, 30 years. And then you go out there and you tell the customer that don't use this company again because it owes you money. And these are, and you find out that these are errors. How are you going to repair that damage that you've done? There's nothing you can do about it. You've somebody's business, 30 years, 40 years down the line, and you go out there, you tell the customer that this person also don't use him again. And you have multinationals out there. These are businesses who have sacrificed their life for this country and for business to make trade grow. And then you go out there and you tarnish their image like this. I mean, this is unheard of. And of course, at the moment, there is some reprieve. They say they've reverted and companies can now go ahead and work and they begin to receive boxes. But it is not on. This is not something that should ever have happened, not to a giant like Maersk Line.
So I was going to ask, the lifting of the suspension of the accounts of freight forwarders, does it bring finality to the issue?
Of course, like I mentioned, there are still if you tell us that you have lifted suspensions, there is port rent that has to be taken care of. GPHA is an organization. I mean, the longer you keep your cargo in there, you have to pay for it. So we will take up the issue again. My president has said that we are meeting them again, and then we'll discuss the modalities in terms of how the rent is going to be taken care of. Of course, they've assured us that they are going to take care of some of the demurrage. We've not spoken about rent yet.
Okay, so Maersk talks about meeting to have a resolution to the matter. As you discuss with them, What kind of assurances are you hoping to hear from them? We also understand that you called on national security to intervene in the matter. What's the way forward, do you think?
I mean, of course, I mean, if you air like this and you come out to say that you are sorry, I mean, that's good. They've shown a good hand, and we are going to sit down again and ensure that, most importantly, the rent and the demurrage. And of course, you see, it is the feedback issue. You sent someone an email to tell the person that you owe the person money. The person owes you. Now you revert in that email to tell them that I don't owe you. You produce the documents, and yet they are even unable to come back to you and say, look, we've seen these errors and we are sorry. They don't even do that. So they have to ensure that we are going to ensure that the structures within that space, the feedback is done properly. Again, in terms of the demurrage and the rent that I have mentioned, it is very crucial because, of course, a day's demurrage, a day's rent is quite a lot. In terms of the damage that has been done in terms of going out there to tell the public that, you know, this company has been blacklisted on our service, there's nothing that can be done about that. But we hope that we can break that gap and then move forward, going forward in the coming future.
Is a legal suit an option?
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you so much. John Mantete, he's Vice President of Ghana Institute of Freight Forwarders. As we're hearing tonight, that Maersk has lifted the suspension of accounts of freight forwarders. And as he pointed out, they ran into losses during the period of the suspension of their accounts. Well, let's turn to one of our top stories tonight. Officials from the Ministry of Works and Housing and the Ministry of Communications have commenced work on digitizing the rent control department. Now, this move will eliminate the manual process of operations currently ongoing at the department. Minister for Works and Housing, Francis Asenso-Boakye, disclosed this to journalists after paying a short working visit to interact with staff of the department.
The Rent Control Department has been facing logistical challenges in the past few years due to inadequate budgetary allocation, a situation which has affected its handling of rent issues in the country. According to the Chief Rent Control Officer, Chum Ampofo, apart from the lack of modern technologies to speed up its work, the department also operates with only 2 vehicles nationwide. He made an appeal to the Minister for Works and Housing to inject some capital into their operations.
So nationwide, we have only 2 vehicles which are very effective. But yes, please. So if by the help of you and the ministry, you can provide us some, especially those in the regions, to help us to monitor those in the district level. I think that will be better for us also. So that is the most important need for now.
Francis Asenso-Boakye used the opportunity to interact with some staff and clients who have cases at the department. In his response to the appeal by the Chief Control Officer, the minister hinted that work has begun to make the operations of the department fully digital. He therefore assured that government is concerned about the situation of rent in the country and is working to find a solution.
The digitization of the operations of rent control. Since then, it was captured in the MPP manifesto for the 2020 election. And I've had the opportunity to also come here to experience it myself. I'm happy to say that since I assumed office, even before visiting here, we have started the process of the digitization of the operations of rent control. My ministry, the Ministry of Works and Housing, is currently in active engagement with the Ministry of Communications and Digitalization to digitize the operations of rent control. And we have a team together. We met last week, and we are on it. I'm very hopeful that very soon we will get to the last bit of it so that we can start the implementation. I believe that it will go a long way to addressing rent issues in this country.
The entourage from the ministry used the opportunity of the tour to also interact with some clients of the department.
You're watching Business Live. We are taking a short break. When we come back, we have some news from the insurance sector. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. In other news tonight, the National Pensions Regulatory Authority has completed work on the proposed governance code for corporate trustees aimed at strengthening regulation in the pension funds industry. Now, speaking to Joy Business during the launch of Pensure, an insurance and pension package between Allianz Life and Pensions Alliance Trust, Director for Research at the NPRA, Ernest Amate-Vondi, said the authorities are awaiting the creation of its board to approve the implementation of the governance code. Here's a report. The country's insurance and pensions industry is expanding with the introduction of many innovative products from existing and new firms. To this end, the National Pensions Regulatory Authority and the National Insurance Commission are collaborating to ensure enhanced regulation. After speaking to endorse the insurance product for Pension Trust Alliance and Allianz Life, Director of Research at the NPRA, Ernest Amate-Vondi, said the promulgation of a governance code is very critical to the industry to meet its growing trend.
As the pension funds keep growing, and huge funds are being kept or managed on behalf of contributors, it means that the institutions that are overseeing the investment of these huge funds themselves have to be managed really well. The kind of standards that are required to make them quite efficient, effective in their operations has to be ensured. Then we can give the needed retirement income security that we are looking for the Ghanaian contributor. That's why we see that directive as really very important.
Any timeline, sir?
Unfortunately, I do not have an idea how soon our board is going to be put in place. But I'm sure that when they come, it's one of the items that they are speedily going to have a look at. Then we'll be able to define some timelines for its implementation.
Managing Director of Allianz Life, Gideon Aterere, is confident that the newly launched product will help secure the future of many insured pensioners.
Life, sometimes some people will die even before they get to the retirement age. Now, when they die, what we've seen is that the standard of living that they've always had with their families tends to drop when there's death. But with this solution, it means that even when death occurs, as the family is crying because of the loss of the loved ones, they will not cry because of the loss of their standard of living. They will be able to maintain that. So if you look at hospitalization, disability, and death, that's what we are adding to pension, to savings, and that's why this product is a must-have for the average Ghanaian.
CEO of Pensions Alliance Trust, Ras Boateng, stated that the partnership with Allianz Life Insurance will enable contributors enjoy even more value from their pension contributions, as they do not have to wait until retirement to begin to reap these extra benefits. And that's our program tonight. Thanks for watching. My name is Darryl Kwao. Goodbye.